I was told I told this whole story to my family, and um, they said it was really unfortunate that it happened to you. It's just like sort of wrong place, wrong time, but it was also the result of like you not knowing what kind of scams are out there, right? So just do your best to like educate yourself, educate others. Um, but they said don't beat yourself up over it. They've busted like I don't know other scammers in China before, and they find that these people basically have like a building, just like a Scotiabank tower, but instead of Scotiabank, maybe
Wow.
like the first 5 floors are rented out to these scammers, and they basically sit in these offices and cubicles and work in teams. So like one person is the UPS driver, the next
Holy,
person
holy
is the
crow.
police officer, the other one is like a captain, the other one, and then they said each person they have scripts that work for different people. Elderly maybe they're worse at electronics, so usually they're more electronic focused scams, like you sent a package and you overpaid or something like that. Um,
Wow. Holy
and then
crow.
they said that like different groups of people fall for different scams better than others.
Right,
So like a millionaire is not going to fall for the same scam a grandma's not going to fall for.
right.
You know what I mean. And so they said don't beat yourself up over it. They're professionals and they have psychologists that work and try to figure out how people would react, and then they try to plan around that. So they're like, don't beat yourself up over it. Just learn and don't let it happen again.
So
But
you were
but
mentioning the iPhone. They told you that, or the RCMP, I think, told you that this is they make you do things that benefit them. So, for example, getting the iPhone with all the encryption. I think that was the last part you were at.
yeah, and they after I got the iPhone, it was basically a constant communication back and forth. They said that there was a girl who was in a similar position as me, also scammed by the same guy, and she committed suicide because of the amount of debt that she accrued after losing all the money of being um, scammed by the guy.
So, who told you
And
this? Sorry, was it the Canadian?
the police captain guy, he's like, I
Oh,
didn't
oh,
want to alarm you,
wow.
but um, the reason why we need to keep constant communication with you is because we need to make sure you don't do anything rash. They said we have cases where people were victims of identity theft, and these victims have lost a substantial amount of money, and because of that, they made some rash decisions and made the investigation harder. And so they wanted to make sure I was safe. They asked me to call in morning when I wake up, breakfast, lunch, dinner, so whenever I had a meal, and whenever I went to bed. They also said I would have to notify them if I ever leave the house and for what reason. And all of this in my mind was just like, oh, they're trying to watch out for me.
Mm.
They also said things like, uh, call us or don't call us. Text us the phone numbers of anything you don't recognize. Text us suspicious phone numbers in case these are fraudsters trying to reach out to you. And then they gave me a bunch of information about how to protect myself from fraud, like deleting things in your emails. Make sure you delete them from the trash box, garbage bin, whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay, these are really helpful hints. And so it just further entrenched my trust in them. And at this point, I'd fully committed to myself that, these are police, these are trying to help me, these are people trying to help me. Um, but after a while, somewhere in October, mid-October, they said that, okay, the investigation currently is that the bank account, the guy who stole your identity is involved in the crime. We don't know if you're involved in the crime, but we need you to basically help sort of prove, not necessarily prove your innocence, but prove your willingness to aid in the investigation. And this would help you if this case ever went to court and you're put on trial, it would make you look better in front of a judge that you'd sort of helped out. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, totally willing to help out at all, in any way possible. And he said, okay, we're looking into a different facet of the investigation, which is the banking side. So we looked into the Chinese bank, but it appears that this guy has contacts in Vancouver, and it's possible Canadian banks were involved in it. And so he says, first, we need you to make sure that you didn't receive any money, you didn't receive any benefits from the laundering scheme. So we need to check out your money in your bank account.